Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan and you're watching my World of Sport Wrestling review, Week 8. So I'm really late this week because there's been decorating going on in my house, so there's been too much noise for a filming environment, so when I want a week 9 tomorrow, but I'm filming week 8 now, so it's not even a week away, it's tomorrow. So yeah, but let's look back at what is now last week's episode. And we had Viper versus Aisha. We had Ospreay and Priestley versus Stevie Boy and Kaylee Ray. We had Yestin Reese versus British Bulldog Jr. And then finally we had Creator versus Robbie X in a mask versus mask match. So the first match of the night, as I said, was Viper versus Aisha. And it was a number 1 contenders match for the winner facing Kaylee Ray next week. Since the beginning of the sport, it's been very well established that Viper and Aisha are the powerhouses of the women's division, and this match really helped make that point hammer in. It was, we are two powerhouses, but which one of us is the powerhouse of the women's division? And neither woman wanted to let up, and in the end, it was Viper who came up with a win. It was a strong match with both women just brute force and power and just non-stop clashing. But as I said, in the end, it was Viper who came out the stronger one, who came out the powerhouse, and she will face Kaylee Ray next week for the Women's Championship. Speaking of the Women's Championship, the next match, which is Will Ospreay and B. Priestley versus Stevie Boy and Kaylee Ray, the Women's Champion. This was the first mixed tag team of World of Sport Wrestling, and what a really good way of showing it. We've seen B versus Kaylee Ray. We know what they can bring to the table, and it's always vicious, like, I don't want to say catfighting, because that's not what it is, but it's very much evil intentions against each other. Whereas with Will and Stevie Boy, we've never really had much between them. It was just a matter of which one of us is the better one, who's the it couple of World of Sport. Now, for me, this was a match of the night, of course, because Will and Stevie Boy had their high-flying back and forth, and I said the women had their vicious, you don't know what's going to happen next wrestling, as they have in previous weeks. And yeah, it was just a top-notch match. It all blended together really well. There was some odd stuff in terms of production, but the match itself, fantastic. And yeah, the it couple of World of Sport Wrestling in the end is Will Ospreay and B. Priestley. Now this is a match I didn't know I wanted, which was Yestin Reese versus British Bulldog Jr. Yestin has always very much been about, throughout the tag team tournament, him and Kip. And there was always this comedy route to it throughout the tag team tournament. But for singles action for Yestin, this really helped prove that he is one of the best. Because I believe it was week 1 we had British Bulldog Jr. versus Will Ospreay, and possibly week 2. But that match was fantastic. It was a great way of reintroducing World Sport Wrestling to the world. But this now, we're coming towards the end, and this has proven that from what started as them helping is now just, like, this is where, like, that's where we began, and this is where we're at now. Like, Yestin was really good. It became a battle of respect. It became a battle of strength. And it was just fantastic. It was just a fantastic go at it. Like I say, Yestin, I don't want to say I wrote him off, but past being the brute force in the Alpha Bad tag team, I didn't see much other than that. So now seeing him in singles action, this is a guy that I want to see succeed in all sense of the word. Like, wherever, against whoever, Yestin, for me, has proven himself as a top star, and, like, that's all you can really ask for. Like, this match blew my mind. In the end, it was Davey Boy Jr. who came out with the win. So yeah, like, that match just, it surprised me. Like I say, I didn't expect such a solid match, and that's what was delivered. And as we come into the next to the final 2 weeks of World of Sport, I hope to see more from Yestin, especially in the big match next week. Now, finally, we have the Mask versus Mask, Creator versus Robbie X match. So this has been building for a really long time. Of course, like I say, we had Creator beating Gabe, we had Creator beating Gabe and Slater, but then we had Robbie X, Slater and Gabe beating Creator. So Robbie X, of course, feels like the deciding factor, so this match came to be to see if he really is that good. And what did he prove? He really is that good. Now, Creator has proven himself to not be anybody to push about. He's very much proven that he is a dominant brute force monster thing. But what Robbie X has proven, strength isn't everything. Speed matters. Timing matters. Because for most of this match, Robbie was down and out. And you could have just written him off, he was done. But all it took was right at the end, one swift movement, and then bip bop, the mask is off. So Robbie came out, he got the mask, he wins. And then yeah, so then came the announcement by Breaking News Bennett, Stu Bennett. The announcement is we have what is being described as a unique match with the entire male division, minus Rampage obviously, facing off to see who will face Rampage for the World of Sport Championship. And that is a match I'm really interested in. And also next week is the Viper versus Kelly Ray Championship match. So it's big stakes next week, it's big stakes tomorrow. So we shall see what happens tomorrow. It's an earlier start, so hopefully with it being an earlier start I can pump out a video quicker and I might be able to get my next review out within tomorrow, hopefully. So I shall see you then. If I don't see you then, I shall see you whenever the video is out. Bye.